We are into the home stretch of Mardi Gras 2023 at Universal Orlando, and I am inviting 4 members of the Producers Club to help us discuss this year's event. This is episode 552 of the Unofficial Universal Orlando Podcast. Hey everyone, welcome to the show. It is me, Lee. I have got rid of the riff-raff that is Michelle, Tracy and Chris, and joined by 4 much nicer people than those 3. So coming to us from Columbia, South Carolina is Grace. Hello, Grace.
Hello, hi.
Your podcast debut.
Yes.
Although we have mentioned you quite a bit on the show at this point.
Yes.
Also coming to us from Pasadena, Maryland is Kayla. Hello, Kayla.
Hello.
And then coming to us, I don't like these last 2 as much, to be fair. Coming to us from Orlando, Florida is Kevin. Hey, Kevin.
Hello, everyone.
I'm
He's
kidding,
jealous.
by the way. That's all it is. It is jealousy. And our Instagram video and photo getter, Miss Madeline. Hello, Madeline.
Hi, everyone.
Coming from us, Kissimmee in Florida. So, putting it out there for the people listening, this group wasn't randomly chosen either. This is a huge part of our solo Seekender group that ended up coming together for the Weekender last year, and I will quote Kevin at this point that he said he never expected to have the best weekend of his life with people he'd never met before.
That's right.
Kevin.
That quote just
know.
summed the Weekender up for me entirely. So
I meant it. It really was. It was amazing. I had no idea what to expect, but friends for life here. So
awesome.
thank you again. Awesome.
Yeah, Madeline's like mine and Tracy's 3rd child. Not Madeline, sorry. Grace was mine and Tracy's 3rd child this last trip.
I was about to say, I've been replaced already.
No, I meant you.
Madeline, back off.
I'm coming for the title, Grace.
Yes, I'm surprised I could pry Madeline and Kevin away from the Universal Family Podcast at this point, to be fair. But, they can't have you all the time.
No, they can't. We did 2 in 2 months, I think. So we probably need a cool down, but someday hope to be back.
But yeah, I think we've talked about it a lot behind the scenes recently, that Mardi Gras isn't an event that we tend to cover a lot on the podcast. It's because Tracy and I have only ever been once. Chris never got there last year at all. And I think Michelle only did like half a day. And I'm like, why have I never reached out and done one of these episodes with people who've gone way more than we have? So that's where this has come from, basically. So we just want to kind of break the event this year down into its sort of core elements and kind of let you guys have the playing field to kind of discuss your thoughts on this year's events. But just generally overall this year, just the theming of the event overall, how do you guys feel that is it different this year to everything else? And leaving the parade out, just the event as a whole.
All right. So this was my first time.
Okay.
So I cannot comment to that question, but I can comment from a first timer's perspective.
Okay.
So you asked about the theme.
Yes.
I forgot there was a theme.
Right.
So that probably answers. Not to say that it wasn't cool, but yeah, no, I didn't necessarily see like a theme. I don't know what the rest of you think, especially having been gone to other ones in the past.
It's funny, we recorded our anniversary episode last week, comes out in a couple of weeks, and we kind of delved into the theming of the seasonal events this year, and I think Mardi Gras is the one that has the least identity, at least from our perspective. It's very strange.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to remember that there's a theme other than Mardi Gras. Like, there's a parade theme every year. It's different. I always just think of it as it's Mardi Gras themed, which is
So
fine.
last year was more of like a space theme, right? The parade.
Yeah.
But that was the parade, wasn't
space.
it? Yeah. I'm sort of talking, leave the parade out separately because we're going to talk about that in a second.
Oh, okay.
Just the event overall, it doesn't really have much of an identity, does it, really? I don't think so.
No.
Just a lot of
Just Mardi Gras.
Zydeco music.
I will say this year it's way more across City Walk and Islands than it has been in past years. So I feel like they're trying to make it more of a resort theme rather than just a studios theme.
Yeah, and I like that. I think we talked about that quite a bit, that Horror Nights is kind of spreading out. The holidays is resort-wide at this point, but Mardi Gras is definitely, has always been. In fact, I would always go as to say that it's been confined to the sort of front part of studios up until this last couple of years. It was literally just like taking the parade route out, kind of Production Central in New York, and that was it.
Yeah. I don't know how many times you guys have gone, Kevin, Madeline, in previous years to Mardi Gras, but I've gone like 4 or 5 years of it, and it's getting bigger every time. Like, it's very noticeable. Like 4 or 5 years ago, it was really tiny, and it was just in like that little park outside of the Mummy area.
Yeah.
Like, that was kind of it. And now it's everywhere where they're doing all the food booths and everything. Like, I feel like I see it now kind of all across, which I really like.
With the Mardi Gras theme, it was really cool that some of the character, like Scooby Gang, was dressed up.
Yes.
And Shrek was dressed up. Yeah, it wasn't.
Oh yeah, I loved that.
That was really cool.
Yeah, I think the spread of it has come. I think it's one thing we can thank COVID for, to be honest. Because I think that first year after COVID, when they didn't do the parade, they needed to expand it, and that's what they did with the food booths. And then they've realised how much of a draw it is for people, and just need to start doing it every year now.
Even in Islands, which thanks Madeline for remembering. We met the mayor, and then the mayor we were talking about Mardi Gras. I think because I was dressed ridiculously, that they were like, "Oh, we're here for Mardi Gras," and then like we had to find the beignets, and then we were like walking with the mayor through the crowd. Like, she walked us from the front of Islands to the beignet stand and like did a whole photo shoot. Like, even in Islands, they weren't necessarily dressed whatever, but like, yeah, it brought it over there. It was really fun. That mayor was really cool. And apparently Tracy knows the mayor.
No, yes, Tracy and I know. She's not a close friend, but we know her. She is amazing.
Oh my God. It was a whole thing. I guess we're going to get to this. Sorry if I'm jumping. The first day with the heat and drinking, I've never like drank in parks like that, and I was like, I'll get the Blinky cup. I'm gonna try a drink and food at every booth. I got a little tipsy. I was a little fuzzy on day one, hence me not remembering what the heck that photo was. Anyway, Mardi Gras. I was just following the theme, you know?
Yeah.
Drink.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like comparing it to Horror Nights and the holidays. Do you guys feel the same, that it could do with a bit more of an identity?
I think so, compared to the holidays. This last year was the first time I ever went to the holidays, and I was like blown away by all of the theming and the decorations everywhere. And it just felt like everywhere you turned, it was holidays, just 100% of the park. But then I kind of think like Mardi Gras is not like culturally as big of a deal outside of a couple parts of the US, maybe.
True.
So maybe I can't think of what it would look like to theme it out like they do for the holidays.
Yeah.
I wonder, I mean, so, with the holidays, with Christmas, you have the garland everywhere. You have decorations visible in every corner of the parks. Could they do that with Mardi Gras to that extent? Is that what we're talking about? That level of decoration everywhere? They kind of could. I think
because I think we talked about on the one that hasn't come out yet, like even like leave the Christmas trees up in the hotel, but then just theme them, change them out for Mardi Gras, and do like a Mardi Gras tree or a Horror Nights tree. Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
I did that in my basement. I have a Mardi Gras tree.
See,
I can give them advice.
Kayla's come up with it. Why can't Universal get on with it?
So I actually like the theme of Mardi Gras. I like that they keep the island's music and they don't put Mardi Gras over it, whereas during the holidays, there's music everywhere.
Agreed.
And it's the same 10 songs over and over.
Completely agree with that. Tracy hated walking into Islands of Adventure and not having the port of entry music there.
Oh, me too.
A lot of people
kills it.
Yeah, someone I talked to said that they didn't really like Christmas, and that was like the main reason why.
Yeah.
Like they didn't like Christmas I've gone many times to Christmas, and it's like I'm not a big Christmas person, and Universal like will bring me in the mood. Like I can be like really, really down, and being at Universal's Christmas is like it. And so I was like really sad to hear that like the music is that, that big of a deal to some people. And I mean, I get it. I don't think it's enough to like make me dislike Christmas.
I think for port of entry, it just doesn't belong there. I mean, it's 2 months out of the year that port of entry just doesn't have the port of entry identity. Keep it in Universal Studios. I love it over there. Just don't bring it into port of entry.
I'll agree with that.
Back to the Mardi Gras theme, because I feel like I got stuck on the thought that like there was like a theme, like what is it, mythical fantasy creatures or whatever, and last year was space. I kind of feel like Christmas. So Christmas is almost always exactly the same. I don't really notice any really big change of the decorations. And I feel like with Mardi Gras, like I'm curious if they should just, as was it Grace said, like have it just be Mardi Gras theme and don't do a space theme or whatever. Don't do a second theme. And then they could really double down and like spend to decorate the whole place and then just use it whatever, like other years.
But then they could double down on that theme, because the theme, that second theme that you're saying it's just for the parade. They don't, like, I'd like to see them, if you're going to theme the parade floats for a specific theme, like the planets or space like last year, then double down on that and theme the park out to kind of reflect that. But they don't. It's literally just for the parade.
Yeah. And sometimes you'll go like walking around the park during the day and see some of the like parade walker, stilt walker people around in their outfits that are themed to the parade. Yeah. But outside of the context of the parade, it makes no sense.
Yeah.
So you're just looking at someone dressed like a unicorn and going, like, why?
That's so true.
Yeah.
Because they're everywhere. They're dressed like sea creatures and all kinds of different crazy stuff, and you have no idea why. But they do look pretty.
They do look cool.
That is sort of just what Mardi Gras is too, though, right? I mean, Mardi Gras itself is kind of crazy and all over the place.
Yeah.
So I think it works in a weird way.
I'm sure when you're like Kayla, when you're about 6 drinks deep and a bit fuzzy, it's like, hey.
I was really obsessed with the shrimps. Like,
the shrimps. They were the best.
Before we move on to the parade, I suppose we could talk about the Cursed Coconut Club this year. Who's been in? Madeline, I know you have.
A few times, yes.
Yeah, all I can say is I walked in there when it was not crowded, and I thought the theming was absolutely incredible. Just downstairs, upstairs, the projections, the decorations, the fireplace. I mean, I just loved being in there in general. It's
really amazing. So I've been probably, this is going to make me sound bad, maybe a dozen times. And so they have a lot of different entertainment. They have live entertainment during the day. And then at night, it's truly a club.
Yeah.
Definitely breaking fire codes, if I was guessing. So many people are in there. Like hundreds and hundreds of people. It's actually become a destination in Orlando. Like the people are not all tourists. They're definitely local, and people are coming to party. And it's fun. It's expensive. The drinks are like if you're going to drink there, it's not cheap, but they have a lot of really good custom drinks. It's a good time.
That's right. The bartenders were really, really good. They made some really good drinks. And I think I don't know why I find it so hilarious that it becomes like a legit nightclub and it's like this theme thing. And then you just have people like grinding and raging.
Okay. You know when not to go in. What time does that change over again? Just so I know when not to go in. I think it's 10 o'clock.
I would say around 10.
Yeah.
I'd say 10.
Yeah, it's funny. Like Universal again have took something that no one really cared about and then just made it, like you said, man, like a destination for people. Like when they changed it over to the Dead Coconut Club for Horror Nights, I know Chris was telling us that he talked to the manager in there and they had a certain budget that they had to make through the entire run of Horror Nights to make it a viable option, and they did that in the first weekend.
Did the HHN one have an upstairs, and did the Christmas one? Because I'm so upset that I didn't know there was a cool upstairs.
Christmas definitely was beautiful up there. HHN, I didn't see it, sadly.
We never got to go in during Horror Nights. It was closed every time we went over. It's a strange one. The Horror Nights one's a very interesting one because I know we're talking about Mardi Gras, but it's weird that it's open when it's open, because most people who are there for Horror Nights will be in the park at that point and not going in there, and it'll be shut by the time they get out. I find that odd. And that it's closed on non-Horror Nights days as well, which seems strange. Which is half the reason we never got to go in. But anyway, Mardi Gras. So we've talked about the theme a little bit, and we've kind of broached the parade overall. Did anybody do the ride and dine package?
No.
Nope.
No 1%ers then. Oh, I should have had Brian on. He's a 1%. Oh, Michelle. I'm sure one of them will have done it. Right.
Oh, Brian's going to hate you.
I don't care. I like to wind Brian up now. He expects it from me at this point. So what did you think of the parade overall? Now, did anyone actually I know you didn't do the ride and dine, but did anyone actually get to ride a parade float?
Well, we tried multiple times. It's near impossible.
That was really frustrating how that was set up.
Yeah.
My friend, thank God, I was there to enjoy myself. I've never been, so I was like fine with just seeing it from the ground. I didn't want to like have to deal with what my friend was dealing with. So yeah, my friend, I went with Caroline, and she was like, I'm going to try to get on the float. And like that girl was like refreshing her thing. I think Madeline, you also were like trying. Like I was like, I just can't. This reminds me of Disney. Like this is why I don't like Disney, because I don't want to be on my phone this whole time. I don't want to be stressing. And then what was it? Like you could only get 3 people.
3. Yeah.
Is that right?
3. So, like, our group. So we would have to like cut someone out of the group. Like it just didn't feel right. It was weird.
That was our problem too. Yeah, I was like, I mean, I want to do this, but like, who's going to be voted off the island here?
That's weird, isn't it? Have you guys so Madeline and Kevin, and I suppose Grace at this point as well? Did you find that this year it was even more difficult than previous years, or is it just as difficult?
I have to admit, this is my first big time at Mardi Gras, so I can't speak to previous.
No, it's definitely way more difficult this year. It's gotten the popularity of riding on the float. Like there are whole Facebook groups where people are trying to strategize. And if you go to the area, so I was there with Kyle and his friends, and they actually successfully, Kyle didn't, but his friends did, got on the float.
Okay.
And the area that by where the float loads near the time of it loading is packed because people are trying to get on standby.
Right.
It's every day. Like it's craziness.
Yeah. I mean, has anybody ridden on a parade float?
Nope.
No.
I mean, like, I rode as like a child.
No, I mean the ones at Universal.
Oh no.
No. Honestly, from previous experience, it is. I understand why people want to do it. That year we did it when we were over in 2020. We had like our whole team on there. It is an amazing experience. Like it is one of the best times I've ever had at Universal, and I understand why it is this be-all and end-all experience for people. We were very lucky that we had a PR contact at Universal at the time, and we're very, very close friends with one of the show directors, so we had none of that hassle. But I can understand why people want to do it, and it does annoy me a little bit that they've made it more difficult this year by obviously giving up so many places to the ride and dine package, but then the fact that they haven't given all of them up to that, I suppose if you really want to do it that desperately, you can, and it's not a bad price, I don't think, for what you get.
It wasn't at first.
Yes, it has gone up, you're right.
Then I saw the price went up, and that really just priced me out.
Yeah.
At first, I was thinking about it when it was like $50 or $60 a person, I think, and you could get the pass holder discount. I was really thinking about doing it, and then we decided to do the escape room / escape experience instead. So I didn't want to do like 2 big things. That would have been a little too much money.
Yeah.
But then I went back and saw the price went up to like $85, something like that. And I just couldn't make that happen anymore.
If I were to go back next year or whatever, I would, and if it was like $50-$60, I probably would do the dine experience.
Because for that price, you think you're getting a 3-course meal at one of the better restaurants on City Walk or in the park. You'd probably spend $40 or $50 on that.
Yeah.
So it's really worth it.
Did you see this though? Because I looked into it. I was like, oh, $50. That's the price of that meal. That's great. You have to eat at like 3 p.m.
Right.
Which is so funny to me. They like force you to eat at this random time.
So you can't. That's interesting.
And then you get to go.
You would have thought they'd
float.
basically just given you like a a gift card effectively to go whenever you want to go. That seems strange. I mean, this is the first year they've done it. They could be a tester this year and they could change it up last year. I know from when we went over, when we came over for the weekend, trying to get Tracy a virtual line to meet the Grinch. I know how stressful that was, and I know my life wouldn't have been worth living if I hadn't have got it. So I do understand that. And you're right, Kayla, you've hit the nail on the head. It does feel like you're at Disney, and that's not what you want from Universal, because Universal have always been the opposite of Disney, where you don't have to worry about the stress of those types of things. And it worries me that they're going down that route a little bit more.
I don't know if this is like fair. I don't even know if I should bring this up. I feel like I was fine with viewing the parade. I kind of went in thinking that I had heard it was like a lot of time to ride on the float. Since it was my first Mardi Gras, I was like, I don't even know if I really want that. So like, I was cool with it. Now that I'm back and I'm like watching different YouTubes or like influencers, and it just feels like every day they get to ride the float, I'm like more aggravated at, I don't know if they have a PR person. I don't know how they get on a float like every day. And then it's like it's like petty, like toddler of me to be like, can you share? Like, let other people go on the parade float. Yeah,
you should only be able to get like a one. Once you've been on one for that year, that should be it. You shouldn't be allowed to get on again.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, now we've all over the parade.
The parade itself was good.
Yeah, well, that's what I wanted to get onto now.
Okay.
Go on then.
I was blown away by the parade. I did not expect those floats to be as good as they were. They were just amazing. The costumes were amazing. And then, I don't know, I think I'm getting more like in the infant adoption process. Like I'm paying attention more to kids and families and like getting excited. And I was very surprised at how much fun the families were having.
Yes.
And like, it seemed like it was like the thing that the adults would grab all the beads and then put them on their toddler. And then you'd see this 5-year-old with like a pound of beads dangling from the neck.
Like mini Mr.
And then,
T.
like, lifting up the toddler and they're like, he's the king of Mardi Gras. Like, it was so fun. It was fun that like, Mardi Gras, which is typically more like an adult drinking thing, has become like a family. I'm like looking forward to having a family and going to Mardi Gras for that. And I think that's really cool.
Yeah, I agree. It was really amazing. So we went once with Jillian and Noah, her little boy, and he, people, and of course, people on the floats like look for kids to throw the beads to. He got so many beads, really fun. We stood across from Louis, so across the street from Louis.
Okay.
That was a really good spot too. A lot of beads thrown over there, and you can see really well the parade, and you don't have to wait too long for it to start. But yeah, it's really amazing and fast paced. It was a great time.
Yeah, so I was going to say, I'm not a big parade person in general. I like, doing the rides and eating and all that kind of stuff. But, the Mardi Gras parade is something different because you're not just standing there watching things go by. You're participating in it. You're catching beads. You're trying not to get hit in the eye by a bead. That happened to Brian. And, you're trying to sometimes even fight other people for them and stuff. It's fun. It's a whole experience. I thought it was fun too. I was under an umbrella for one of the parade viewings, and there were just beads landing on the umbrella, and I was just standing under the umbrella catching them as they fell down.
Awesome.
And you kind of have to be, if you want to catch the most, you have to be like right in the front, or be a kid, or your parents just going to give it to you. But even if you're not trying, you're still going to get hit by beads, or just whether you want to or not. So it's a really fun experience. And even not being a huge parade person, I still think the floats are beautiful. And I love the one at the end with the crocodile and the lanterns and all that. It's great. I love it.
I also want to second, I'm not a big parade person.
Yeah.
And you just heard me like rave about the parade.
Yeah.
Sorry. Great.
All right.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not a huge parade person either. And it's funny because I go during Mardi Gras every year, mostly because the crowds are less and the weather's nice, not necessarily because I love Mardi Gras so much. But I always go, I don't really need to spend my time watching the parade. And then I end up watching it every year and like loving it.
Yeah.
Like something about like, you just get into it. It like sucks you in. They're coming and throwing beads at you, and you kind of, before you realize it, you've watched the whole thing, which was so fun.
Yeah.
We were like, right.
It doesn't feel too long, unlike some parades that I feel like go on and on and on. But Mardi Gras is like the right length, I think.
Well, it's interesting you say that. I know, like, the Weekender was the first time Tracy and I had experienced the holiday parade, and it felt like it went on forever. Because there was because I don't know whether it was because it was slightly windy and because of the balloons and stuff, it was very staggered. Whereas, like I think Madeline said, it's very high paced. The Mardi Gras one, it just, you can't help. I'm not a huge parade person either, to be honest. But the Mardi Gras one is, you can't not go to Horror Nights, because that doesn't exist. Or you can't go to Mardi Gras. I mean, yeah, it did. The first time we ever went, there was a Horror Nights parade. It was cool. But yeah, you can't go to Mardi Gras and not see the parade. And again, I've said it a million times. When do you go to a theme park and have the chance, I know we've kind of said it's a very slim chance, but have the chance to be part of the entertainment at a theme park? And then even if you're not, you're interacting with other guests who are part of the entertainment at a theme park. That happens nowhere else.
Yeah, I'm dying to do it one day.
One
year I'm going to get on that float.
I'll tell you what we noticed watching some vlogs this year as well, which we were pretty pleased about. It was nice to see the performers of all types of shapes and sizes. I don't know whether you guys noticed that at all. Rather than stick-thin, six-pack fellas, it was, all representations in there. It was good. It's good to see.
Yeah,
definitely.
Yeah, Universal's really good about that.
Yes.
Not just in the Mardi Gras entertainment, but across the parks. Their entertainment really is inclusive. They have men dancing with men, women dancing with women. It's not the same as other parks for sure.
Good.
When I saw that, I teared up. The what's that called? The dance.
Oh, the Vamos Bailalo.
The first time I saw that, and I saw that there was 2 males and 2 females dancing together, I was like, this is amazing. That's good to point out, Lee. I think I've taken it for granted, all of this.
Yeah, it's a big deal because, like you say, if you watch any other media thing like that, it's generally the sort of the model, what people expect, isn't it? And it was really good to see this year.
I said about like the families. And Grace kind of touched upon this a little bit, but like it was also really fun. So I told you guys Friday, I did not feel well. I learned for the rest of my trip. So Friday, the parade, I sat and I was by Kevin under the umbrella. Like it was really crowded, and it was like I needed to just like sit down, take a break. So I was like people watching people in the parade, and it's so fun to see everyone get in it, and like people that like I know I don't know these people, but like looking at them, I'm like, I think you seem like you're like introverted and typically quiet, and you're like screaming like beads and like flipping out. Like I felt like everyone was in it. Like you couldn't not be in it. And that was really fun to see like different nationalities, like different ages, like literally everyone was freaking out for beads. Yes. And like we all joke like, why?
Oh, and you do get those you get the crazies as well that are like having, like say when we were on the parade float, it's like the zombie apocalypse, looking at everyone going beads, you're like, like people reaching over and barging kids out the way to get beads, and it's like the plastic beads that you could probably get from Target for like a pack of 100 for like $1. Yeah, people go mental.
I was like looking at a straight line of like an 80-year-old, a 20-year-old, and a 6-year-old going beads.
It's funny. We've all been there, let's be honest.
I need to know what people do with these beads afterwards. Like, do they keep them somewhere? Do they throw them away?
I'm gonna make this less family friendly. Maybe you don't want to find out what people do with those beads, Kevin.
Oh, okay.
We'll leave that up to everyone's imagination. What did you think of the theme of the parade this year then? I'm trying to think what it is. What is it this year? Mythical creatures. There we go. Kayla, this was your...
Cool.
Let's go. I'll go to... Sorry, Kevin. Kayla, first time. Obviously, this is the first time you've seen the parade. You've said you really enjoyed the floats. Did the actual theming of it make any difference to you?
I told you that I forgot there was a theme.
Okay.
So clearly
No,
it did not.
Okay.
And I don't know why shrimps and crawfish were mythical.
I think that's more the Mardi Gras theme, isn't it?
It's funny because I've been posting photos and my husband was like, why are there unicorns? And I was like, I don't know. Why are there unicorns? And now I'm remembering. So now I'm like, oh, that was cool.
Okay.
But no, I didn't. I don't know. I personally didn't see the theme that much.
Okay.
And I remember there was the red creatures that I just posted a photo with that I don't know what they are still. And I remember unicorns.
Okay.
And I remember the that alligator at the end, but not really mythical creatures. I don't know. My favorite float was the tree. That thing was amazing. Anyway.
I have no idea what those red creatures are. I'm just looking at your post now. They're like fire.
Lee, I don't know what I'm doing either.
Fair enough.
This was the theme of my trip. What am I doing in this picture? And Madeline remembers.
I think there are dragons and you are doing a dragon pose.
Okay. Kevin, sorry I interrupted you there.
No, it's cool. Speaking of the dragons, I thought those were really cool floats. I think I remember there being smoke coming out of them. They were breathing smoke and fire. Maybe that's just Disney. Maybe Disney's the one with the fire. But and the confetti and all that.
Yeah.
I like how they mix the theme in with your actual Mardi Gras, everyday Mardi Gras stuff.
Yeah.
I think there's a float with the something that looks like a building from Bourbon Street and jazz, and then you got the crocodile at the end. I think it's cool that they mix it in like that. And I love the dragons. I thought they were super awesome.
I think it's hard to do a theme when they use the same music every year. So since the music is always the Mardi Gras music during the parade, I think that takes people away from a theme. And the floats all look kind of similar every year too. I thought it was beautiful. I loved the all of the different animals and everything involved in the parade. And I love the dancers that dance between the floats. Were really fun, hyping up the crowd, doing different TikTok dances or whatever. But the theme doesn't really do much for me. I think I agree with Grace. They could just do a Mardi Gras theme and that would be good with me.
Well, okay. So I think now that I'm thinking about just the parade, and I go see it every year, the cool thing, if you've never seen it before, some of the floats are the same every year. So the King Croc is the same, King Gator, that's what it is.
Thank you. I've been dying to pull someone up and you did it for me there. Thank you. Sorry.
Yeah, so there's always 4 or 5 floats that they use every time.
Yes.
And then the other ones they do new every year for whatever the theme is. So last year it was space and this year is the mythical creatures. So it does make it more exciting if you go every year.
That's a good point.
Because the parade is different. So this time we were kind of standing right outside of the studios store at the front of the park. So we're seeing the parade come around the corner by Today Cafe, through Hollywood. So it was so exciting, waiting to see the next one come around the corner and go, oh, what's this one going to be? So that was really cool. I actually like that I didn't know what it was going to be until I saw it.
Yeah, that's a really good point that you get the nostalgic ones that are there every year, but then you're always going to get some new ones in, which I'm assuming the holiday parade's the same every year? Anyone?
Probably. I've only seen it once.
I think so.
Yeah.
Exact same. I thought maybe they would have some different balloons and stuff.
I mean, looking at the state of those balloons, watching it when we were stood out on Music Plaza, there was a lot of patches on a lot of those balloons, so they were looking very old.
As I could bet. I think the balloons are all the same.
Okay.
I don't know. I think it's all the same, and maybe like slight changes of like little costumes, but I think the holiday one is exactly the same.
Yeah. But overall, we like the parade, yes?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yes.
Cool. Right. We're going to take a quick break to hear from our sponsors and help keep the lights on, and we'll be right back.
Man, we need a vacation.
Oh, I got this.
Whoa, that's awesome. But I was thinking something a little more adventurous.
Okay, how about this?
Yes!
Woo! How about some relaxation from Mama?
Oh, perfect. Wait, how did you do that?
Easy. PortKey Vacations.
For your next vacation, let PortKey Vacations take away all the guesswork and stress of planning. From air and hotel to theme park tickets and everything else in between, they've got you covered. Just visit PortKeyVacations.com and touch the PortKey to get started with your free, no-obligation quote request. With just one touch, and PortKey Vacations will magically take you wherever you want to go.
Hey everyone, welcome back. I am here with my four good friends, Grace, Madeline, Kayla, and Kevin. We are discussing Mardi Gras. We're not on to the main event yet. I know everyone wants to talk about it, but did anyone go to see any of the concerts while they were there?
Me!
Who did you see?
3 Doors Down.
Any good?
I loved it. I apparently knew a lot more 3 Doors Down than I realized. They were phenomenal, and I would have went almost anyone just because I had heard the atmosphere is really cool and the acoustics are really cool, which was accurate. We had to wait. We had to go in like an hour early and sit on like that in that area or whatever, because it reaches capacity. That was like a little frustrating. Like it took a lot of time. So it was me, Ryan, Caroline, Madeline, and Kyle, and only like me, Ryan, and Caroline stayed because Madeline, like it was understandable why you wouldn't want to just sit in that area. Like it's not a very comfortable area. But ultimately it ended up really being worth it.
Okay.
And like I said, I would have seen anyone, and I'm really, really glad. Like this list, like last year's event had a lot more I was interested in. I think I was only really interested in 3 Doors Down and Sean Paul, because I think Sean Paul would have been hilarious.
It was pretty good. I went to Sean Paul.
Did you? Was it good?
It was. Yeah, it was great. The energy was awesome. Sean Paul, he was interacting with the crowd a lot and really just energetic and exciting. I liked it. It was fun.
Were people rowdy? I was worried Sean Paul would attract some.
From what I remember, it wasn't really bad. I thought people were pretty well behaved, and it wasn't like some of the festivals. I haven't been to many festivals, but maybe one or two that I've been to, and it wasn't super crazy. It wasn't super crowded like that. Like I felt like I had a little more room, and for me it was more manageable. I had a good time. So
a fight almost broke out near us at 3 Doors Down, which isn't Universal's fault, but that did happen, and a woman fainted. So we had like a really lively concert experience.
Ooh.
Oh my gosh.
Got the real experience.
It was interesting.
Kevin and Madeline and Grace, the ones that go more often, are the concerts something you kind of specifically look to go for, or is it just like, if we're there, we might?
For me, not so much. I'm definitely more about like the food and the theming and all that. But I usually, I guess I've been going to about one a year now. It's just something fun to do. It's pretty much it.
Yeah, I've never been to one of the concerts. Almost always I'm there during weekdays because the crowds are lower.
Right.
So I've never actually been there during a concert day.
Okay.
I was going to say, like, going as often, I think so. Originally, I was supposed to do this trip with someone who hasn't been to Universal since Diagon Alley has opened. And me going as much as I go with my season pass, I would go to a concert again. If I was going with someone who hasn't been ever or hasn't been in a while, like it was a lot of time and effort. Like it's interesting because like, I mean, and then people go and wait for the concert. Like that's when the lines for rides were like down because it was crazy. Like Saturday of the concert, we barely rode anything because the lines were so bad. So yeah, I don't know. I feel like because I go so much, I could go to the concert. But if I was a normal person who just, went to Universal with my family, I don't think it's like worth the time. You're better off like going to, all the rides and stuff.
Kayla, did you just admit to not being a normal person?
I admit that all the time.
Yeah. So as Kayla said, I did not stick around for the concert out of laziness because I really do not like that turf. So we did it for Mannheim. Yeah. And it's, my opinion, very uncomfortable to stand or sit over there. So it would have to be a really great concert. And the reality is that most of the people they're booking are not going to be the, A-list concerts, which is great. Like I thought they had a really good lineup this year. Chris might disagree with that, but I thought it was pretty good.
No, Chris will disagree with that.
But I still would never probably, now that I've seen where you have to stand, I mean, maybe if I stayed at home all day and then went at night only for the concert, but if you're doing the parks during the day, like I was pretty tired.
I think Universal learned their lesson and kind of need to book lesser bands from when they had Fall Out Boy on, because I know when Hunter was part of the show, he went to the Fall Out Boy concert and he said it was crazy busy. And I was
I could imagine that would be totally bananas if it was a big act like that.
Yeah, but then like, was it Marshmallow last year, the year before, or my 2020? Did he actually play? It was COVID year, wasn't it? Did he actually play or not? I'm trying to remember now.
No, I don't think so. I think that was 2020.
And it was scheduled, but the parks closed before he played, didn't he? Is that right?
I think so, but I could be wrong about that. That would be crazy though. Like a big DJ, I can't even imagine.
Yeah. Yeah, the concerts are something we never bothered with again because I'm tight and I bought Tracy the seasonal pass so she couldn't get in anyway. But I don't think it's anything we would have been interested in unless it had been some K-pop band and then she'd have killed me to make sure we should get in for it. But there you go.
I'd be there with her.
I'm sure. I know you encourage her to spend as much money as you can in K-pop shops in Orlando.
That's my job.
All right, I suppose we better get on to the main event. I think Mardi Gras has become so much about the food now. And we talked to Shelby a couple of weeks ago about the top 5 Mardi Gras food items, vegan food items this year, and they all sounded really good. And again, just from talking about it on the show and watching the vlogs we watched, the food looks really good this year. So, right. So other than Kevin, who I know bought 3 of those food and beverage cards yesterday, how many of those food and beverage cards did everybody else buy?
I got 2 of them.
Okay.
I got 2 of them.
I don't know. I've probably bought 4 or 5 of them. I buy them when I run out of them. And I go to the parks all the time, so I use them everywhere.
Yes.
So yeah, I've used quite a few of them.
But even if you're going for Mardi Gras, they are such a good deal.
It's free money.
It's crazy.
It's like $30.
Yeah.
Yeah. If someone said, I'm giving you $30, would you not do it?
Exactly.
And you can use it on anything, which blew my mind. Like I used it at Cowfish. I used it at Antojitos. You can use it on alcohol. Like there's no limit. So why wouldn't I?
Exactly. Mm-hmm. Universal. Everyone loves it. Don't get rid of it. If you're listening.
Yeah. I mean, when you talk about like the Food and Wine Festival at Disney, for example, I buy food there all the time, but I don't feel good about it when I do, unless it's really good. But then you come to Universal and you have this gift card and you just want to buy things and you feel good buying it. And even if it wasn't the best thing ever, you're like, well, at least I got to use my gift card and, I felt good about it.
Yeah.
So I hope they keep it forever. I love it.
So let's go around. We'll start with Grace. Grace, what were your two favorite things you had at Mardi Gras this year?
Oh my gosh. I tried so much food. I took notes.
Oh.
I'm looking at my notes now. Okay, so number one favorite thing was the elotes from Mexico, which was the street corn. That was so good that I got it twice. It was just phenomenal. So that was probably number one.
That's over by Cafe La Bamba, isn't it?
Yes. It's like right across from the crepe stand.
Yes.
And then probably number two was the onion bhaji from India.
Ooh,
it's like these onion fritters that come with a sauce.
That's weird.
Fantastic.
I love onion bhajis. They're a huge thing over here for Indian food, but to come with a dipping sauce is a bit strange.
The sauce was the best part.
Okay.
Honestly, it was so good. And now, like, I don't eat Indian food a ton. It's not as popular, at least where I live, but they were wonderful.
I liked it too.
Yeah.
I can agree.
Yeah, I love onion bhajis. Kayla.
All right. As the resident gluten-free human in this podcast.
Good. I like that.
So I was a bit disappointed in the options. There wasn't a ton. There was a nice amount for a theme park, but like HHN this year, I thought was a lot better and had a lot more. Like there were options, but it was a lot of the same.
Okay.
If that makes sense. And then there were some like weird mistakes. So the Mexico booth, I am 99% sure it was gluten-free and they forgot to mark it, which is bizarre. And it was the fact that it wasn't fixed was also bizarre. And then the Indian booth, I could not believe didn't have anything gluten-free because I'm 99% sure. I usually can't have fried stuff, but with Indian food I can because I think they use chickpea flour. So usually those like onion puffs I can eat and I couldn't. So that was a little frustrating. From that, all that aside, my favorites were the mofongo.
Okay,
trio,
yes, they look good.
Which was funny because there was a coating, like they could do it. Like that was the one I think because it was unique. It was amazing. I had that twice. And then the other, which makes me laugh, was the Brussels frites, the fries. It came with two sauces. I was hesitant to get them because I was like, they're fries. Like, this is kind of boring. They were the best freaking fries. They were like fresh cut, amazing. And the sauces, it was like a curry mustard and a, what's that called? A tartar sauce almost, like a take on a tartar sauce. I loved it. I loved both sauces. I loved the fries. I almost got a second round of it. And then I was like, no, I can't get too, like, why am I going ape over French fries? It's so silly.
Yeah, Kayla, we need to have you on in the future. We've talked about vegan stuff and dairy stuff. We've never had anyone with gluten intolerance on. You could be interesting to pick your brains about eating at Universal, actually.
They're really good. I think for these kind of events, and not to keep bringing up Disney, but I think this was the one. I went to the Food and Wine Festival this past year, and they had a lot more options gluten-free at Disney, and they had like some cool things like that. I can't normally get. Like I think I got like pho, however you say it.
It's pho, isn't it? Pho. I think it's pronounced pho.
So it was like one of those things where it's like, Universal, I know you can do it. Also, again, because of HHN and like how much they had there, I was so hopeful that Mardi Gras would have like a ton, and it didn't.
That's disappointing, actually. And you've proved you can do it for a seasonal event, then do it again. Yes, well, that's why I want you on, Kayla, because we bring attention to stuff like this, and it's having people on who have to deal with this that then, Universal have to be listening, and it makes them realise. And I know they're stepping up their game. It's certainly way better than it used to be, but it's not as good as it should be. Because I'm trying to remember when we had Shelby on, and she talked about the vegan stuff. She said there was a couple of options that were gluten free as well. I can't remember off the top of my head what they were. Kevin.
Yeah, so I think my favorite, it's really close between 1 and 2. My favorite is going to have to be the okonomiyaki from Japan. I love it. It was when I was in Japan, it was one of my favorite things that I had over there. And it was actually fairly authentic. Like, I thought they captured the flavor really well. I don't know. I had one when I was there, so don't quote me, but It was good.
Yeah.
And what else about it? I love egg in the first place, so that egg and the Japanese flavors and the nori and all that stuff, just I love it. And I love the Japan booth itself.
Yes.
How it was tucked inside of that alley with the lanterns. It just made you want to go in there and buy something and just eat it in the alley there. It was awesome.
Yeah, I love the using Sting Alley, like, obviously, because they did it with the Meats locker last year for Horror Nights. Was so cool.
Yeah, definitely. They're killing it with those Sting Alley booths. And then my number 2, which is close to 1, was the hot dog from Denmark. And please don't ask me to pronounce it.
I will pronounce it for you. Would you like me to pronounce it for you? I've already pulled Laura up on this because she couldn't do it, and it's pronounced Rude Pulse.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I would not have gotten that. Thank you. It was really good. I think it was Brian and his family that told me I needed to get it. And I was like, oh, this is a hot dog. I'm not a big hot dog person, but this wasn't just an average hot dog. I loved the bread, the garlic, and the butter on it. Everything, the pickled whatever it was on top. Flavors just were perfect together, and everything about it, I would get that again in a heartbeat.
Awesome. Yeah, there's so many options this year, isn't there? I know it's like food bingo. It's like, I wonder if anybody's tried everything at this point.
I was just thinking that while we were talking.
It'd be interesting.
I was like, man, I really felt like I tried so much, and then there's been like no overlap between the three of us so far.
And that's good, actually. Madeline.
Yeah, so I have tried quite a bit of it. I would not say I've tried everything, but I have also not been keeping track, but I'm sure there's stuff I've missed.
Yeah.
It's hard. Some people are coming to try as much as they can, and it really adds up if you want it. Not just money-wise, but like quantity-wise, you get full, because they're pretty big portions. But so my favorite number 1 was the ube ice cream sesame waffle cone, which is controversial because I know a lot of people didn't like it as much.
Really?
But I loved it. I love sweets, so I thought it was really good. And it was really Instagrammable if you're into that sort of thing. It's very pretty.
Isn't that the one? Isn't that made with their sweet potato? Is that one?
Yeah, and it was purple. Yes.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Really good. I love that. And then I like getting the traditional New Orleans food. So I got the shrimp and grits and City Walk.
Okay.
And that was good. I thought a lot of the City Walk options were actually pretty good.
Okay.
So recommend that booth for sure, especially because it's easier to get to than the ones that are inside the park. But yeah, I liked a lot of those options too.
I'm glad you mentioned that one. That was my number 3, the shrimp and grits.
Well, we'll have honourable mentions in a minute and go around. But in honour of Kayla, I think we need to talk drinks as well.
I didn't have any. What do you mean?
Kayla, what were you sozzled on? What was your drink of choice this year?
All right. I'm not a sweets person. So I learned that I drank like in the park at the booths on Friday. And I think then I only drank at either like Finnegan's, City Walk. Like I got a lot of drinks at the escape room. So basically the drinks were not my taste in the actual like Mardi Gras. But the mead was awesome. The mead flight was amazing. That's the one. So like if you're listening and you don't love sweet theme park drinks that are like, I don't know, like what do they, I don't even know how to make them. Just the traditional sweet theme park drinks. I would offer to get the mead flight or pick a mead. Those were strong. Those meads were wild. And then Puerto Rico, was it a pina colada? It was sweet, but it was more like natural. Like I don't mind sweet if it's fruit. So like it tasted like coconut, like real coconut and real pineapple.
Rather than the Horror Night sugar water drinks.
Yes, that's exactly it. So I personally felt like a lot of the Mardi Gras drinks were the standard sugar water drinks. The mead was good, and the that pina colada I thought was good. And I really wanted to try a Bloody Mary, but man, they were like a little intimidating. Like, I feel like I had to like commit.
Madeline, we'll go in reverse order this time. Have you tried any of the... Well, so here's a question. Are there any non-alcoholic Mardi Gras drinks this year?
Yeah. There was in India, I know.
Yes, there are some across. I am not super familiar with them, but they definitely exist.
Madeline's just showed her cards. Madeline, what was your drink of choice for Mardi Gras this year?
So go to Finnegan's and ask for a king cake shot.
Ooh.
That's my favorite drink. It's so not at a booth.
Don't go to, okay, sorry, I'm gonna, the Cabana Bay, I went back to Cabana Bay. So when Madeline went to Finnegan's, I forget why I had to go back. And I was like, oh, I'm gonna get one at Cabana Bay and then see about Finnegan's and compare. The bartender didn't know King Cake Shot, Googled it and made it. It tasted like, what did I say, Madeline? Like sweet milk. It was so bad. So then I didn't get one at Finnegan's because I was nervous. So don't get one at Cabana Bay is my advice.
Okay.
Yeah, but Finnegan's is a good time during Mardi Gras. They have a lot of good drinks in there. Of course, the booths have great drinks too. Those Blinky Cup drinks, if you get one of those big Blinky Cups and you keep refilling it, good luck. That's craziness. So I would not recommend.
Okay, Kevin.
So I tried a couple. And I did like both of the ones that I tried. I also split the mead flight with Kyle, and I thought that was actually pretty darn good. Loved the taste of it. And then I got the maple bourbon smash from Canada, and I loved that. I actually love anything maple.
Yeah.
So I felt like that was a no-brainer for me. It was a little controversial, though. I think the day I was there, it was the day that Chris and Jillian and Brian, Laura, everyone was there, Alexa. I think there were most of them that tried it didn't like it, if I can remember right, or they thought it was too sweet. I was the one holdout. I loved it.
I'm interested. Did you just say you got Kyle to share his alcohol? That doesn't sound like the Kyle I know.
I did actually. It was on the pricier side, so right. Maybe that's what did it.
Sorry, Kyle, love you, buddy. Grace.
Yeah, I didn't try as many as you guys, but I'm more of a beer person anyway. So I tried the Oh Baby beer, which was like the Mardi Gras special one, and honestly, it was really good. It sounded weird because in the description it says it's vanilla and cinnamon.
That does sound weird.
Flavored, which is not what I think of when I think of beer. And it wasn't a porter, which was double weird. But I tried it because I was so curious, and it was honestly really good.
Okay.
The only thing I would say, I got it when it was really hot outside, and it is too dark to be refreshing. So definitely get it like at night. It would have tasted better, I think.
Interesting. Right. Any honorable mentions, food or drink wise, then available at Mardi Gras?
I think the hurricane drink that's all around the parks, you can get it a lot of places, is pretty good. It's very sweet. A lot of juice in it. Like Kayla was saying, a lot of the drinks are really sweet.
Yeah.
So was the Goombay Smash, was really good too. But just know those drinks are all pre-made. So they're, do with that what you will. They taste a lot like punch, all of them, because they're pre-made.
Right.
I'll throw in the schnitzel. That one's also very controversial. I know some people thought it was very bland and not great, but it hit the spot for me. And I was getting a bite with lemon. Every time I took a bite of the chicken, I also had some lemon with it. So I was really hungry and it just kind of hit the spot.
I like lemon chicken.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. The schnitzel was really good. That was probably one of my honorable mentions too. That one, and from Indonesia, there was like a fried rice thing called nasi goreng. That was fantastic. It has like a fried egg on top. It was so good.
Kayla?
I'm looking through my phone. Can I be a little critical?
Yeah, why not?
I feel like I stopped eating. Well, number one, there wasn't a ton of choices, as I've already said.
Yeah.
But also like it was a lot of fried stuff. I remember talking with Kevin that like we ended up going to Today Cafe at a point because I was just like I couldn't eat any more fried.
Yeah. Yeah.
I just wanted like a salad.
Yes. Yeah.
So I wish that they could have had like other things. And yeah, I don't know.
A lot of theme park food could be quite heavy. I know Tracy gets to that point after like a few days of eating the same, or not necessarily the same crap, but just like that crap every day that you just like, I just need something clean.
Yeah. There was something at the Puerto Rico booth. I'm trying to remember. It was vegan and gluten-free. You could get a vegan option. It was like a plantain, almost like a potato pancake, but made out of plantains. And that was cool. That was unique. Okay. And I don't remember what it was called. So apologies.
Alcapurrias.
Oh, there you go. Thank you. That was good. I thought the sauces were really good. Like the mayo ketchup. I don't typically like mayo ketchup. And I felt like it was like an elevated version of a mayo ketchup.
Okay. It seems that it was a hit overall with you, at least with you four. And it's interesting that between the four of you, like someone pointed out earlier, there hasn't been a lot of crossover with what's been your favourite stuff, which is good.
Yeah, that surprised me.
Yeah, that's good because it shows that a lot of it is good. I know, again, I'm not going to say who it is because I still want to keep it as a bit of a secret, but our special guest who we've got on for our anniversary episode, that person said, I'm not even going to give a gender away at this point, that person said that person doesn't show a lot of Mardi Gras food in their videos because it can be very hit and miss.
And I think it still is. I mean, I had some things that were just okay, but especially compared to last year, there were more hits, I thought. And once I find a few hits, I'll go back to them, and that's all I need. A couple really good ones, and I'm happy.
I was gonna say, I feel like I sound more critical.
No,
I liked almost everything I tried, and this is a joke in my brain. The only thing I didn't like, I had a bite of Kevin's sausage.
Whoa, that's what she said.
No.
That's bad.
Kevin.
Okay, so yeah, Kevin, you got what was that called? The crawfish boil, and
Yes, I tried that. Yeah,
and I had a bite of his sausage, and that was the only thing where I was like, "Ooh, I don't like this." So I think that's good that I loved or liked almost everything.
Yes. Chris, if you're listening back to this, you'd have a field day with this one if you were on. Yeah, it's got to be difficult as well because when you consider those food booths aren't permanent structures either, so to make food constantly throughout the day, it's never ever going to be top quality, and I think you've got to go in expecting that. It's not like a permanent food location where you would expect it to be of a high standard all the time. It's not. They're like temporary booths that are up there for a couple of months a year. And so that's got to be taken into consideration, especially depending on the time of year you go as well and how busy it is. Because if they're cranking them out quick, then potentially it should be better quality at least because it's fresher. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Instead of like when it's quiet and it could be sat under a heat lamp for a while, and I know that's being commented. Sorry, Grace, go on.
Oh, that's interesting. No, I was there when it was pretty slow, and I had the opposite experience where I would order something and be the only person, and so they would make it fresh for me, which was great, but I had to wait for it. So it was kind of the opposite, but I really appreciated that they made it for me.
I suppose it just depends, doesn't it, sometimes? I suppose it depends which booth it is as well, because some will be more popular than others, I'm sure.
Yeah, and I wanted to mention too, I mean, maybe a sign of how popular some of these things were. They often ran out of sauces for a lot of these things. So I'd try to order the meatballs from Denmark, and they're like, oh, we don't have the gravy right now. Or you'd go to India and try to get the onion and oh, I don't have the sauce for that right now. We ran out, So I think some of these things were really popular, and I don't know that they were prepared for just how popular they were going to be.
It's just strange, isn't it? Because you think they would. I know, again, going back to when we came over for the weekend, Tracy wanted the holiday crepe, and we went 1:00 in the afternoon and didn't have any. It's going to be popular. It's your seasonal thing. Okay.
Especially, yeah.
Yeah, it was weird.
I second what Kevin said. There was a couple of times where, they didn't have a sauce or they didn't have something, which was interesting.
Strange. It's disappointing from your point of view, Kayla, that there wasn't more there. And I can understand why you've kind of felt that you're being negative, but from someone that is very limited on what you can eat, then I think that's a completely fair comment. We've focused a lot on that side of things the last 6 months or so, and they're definitely improving a lot resort wide with it, but it sounds like they've still got a long way to go.
And I could definitely come back and talk. And I noticed it maybe this time. I wanted to try new things. I feel like I was realizing that I go to a lot of the same places. So with it being Mardi Gras, trying new Mardi Gras food, I wanted to try other different places. And this trip especially, I was really blown away with, they've already made a lot of progress with gluten-free, and it was just amazing. I mean, chefs come talk to me. I ordered from Breadbox, and the guy, he didn't put on gloves or something. And I heard the woman say, next time you're supposed to put on gloves. Okay. And he just touched my bag. The sandwich wasn't even near, you know what I mean? And I was this is just amazing. How much care they put into this. Yeah. So I know they're making progress, and I'm very hopeful that next year there will be more in the booths.
Yeah. I know from having Kelly on, I think I talk about this all the time because I just find it amazing that when she went down, was it last year, the year before, and she'd contacted their allergies department, and the guy actually gave her his cell phone number and said, if you have any issues, just call me. I mean, you can't ask for more than that. That is just above and beyond. That's good, but there's still improvement there to be made, and that's interesting. It's people like us who don't have those restrictions, you tend not to think about it, and it is a big deal for a lot of people. Like Kayla, I know when we were sorting out the non-water taxi dinner last year, that there's nothing you could have dessert-wise at Strongwater, if memory serves.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is strange. Yep. To not have anything on the menu that you can have dessert-wise was a bit odd.
Yeah, dessert is the hardest. Dessert is tough, but Strongwater gave me another drink, which I didn't need. Again, theme of this is that I drink too much.
It certainly sounds that way. Cool. That's gonna wrap it up. I guess everyone overall, what did you think of Mardi Gras this year? I mean, I know it sounds like we've kind of been overcritical on it a little bit, but what did we think?
Overall, I had a great time. I thought improvement over last year, especially in the food department. And I did want to make one comment. So I was at Six Flags Mardi Gras back in January over in Texas, and they had food there and all that kind of stuff. But the one thing that really stood out to me was they had a voodoo haunted house.
Awesome.
For their Mardi Gras. Yeah.
Wow.
Yes. So Universal, just saying, it would be pretty cool. I know you're getting ready for Halloween Horror Nights, and I know that's where the focus is. Love it. But it would be cool to have just one Mardi Gras haunted house.
Put it in Islands of Adventure.
Oh, yes. Man, that'd be cool.
Yeah. That would be awesome, actually.
Yeah, it was pretty well done too at Six Flags. I mean, not the same level of theming at Halloween Horror Nights, but hey, for something to even be there during Mardi Gras, I thought that was pretty cool.
Okay, so I was thinking this while we were talking. I kind of also thought we sounded a little bit negative about Mardi Gras. Not at all my experience. I loved Mardi Gras this year. It was my favorite Mardi Gras that I've been to. This is probably my 4th or 5th one. We had a blast going around and trying all the food. I was with a group of my 3 friends, so there were 4 of us. And we, I think twice did this for lunch. We would go around and try all these different foods and share with each other. And then we would rate them out of 5.
Awesome.
Like we were on Mount Big and Mau Mau, essentially, for every single thing.
Oh, hell yeah.
So yeah, exactly. From like bleh to, oh, hell yeah. Like it was so much fun going around and doing that with each other. Like it was just such a good time, like a fun kind of game to play through the parks. It was just such a fun experience. So I just want people to know that it was actually really cool.
Yeah. It's when you break it down, you're always going to be slightly critical because it is different to the rest of the seasonal events, and I think it comes from I know when we talk about it comes from a place of just wanting it to be a little bit better. It's not that we don't love it, but it can always be better.
You know what we didn't talk about? The tribute store.
You're right. We have not touched on the tribute store at all. That is a very good point.
You know why I remember? Because that's where I'm really negative.
Oh,
yeah.
I don't think we should talk about that
the tribute store at all, and I didn't really like the merch.
Right.
My hope is that what we all kind of think, a group of us that were talking, that because of the switch, that there was a lot of work to get it up, that they just didn't have as much time to fill out, so I'm hopeful that it'll change. But yeah, this was like easily the worst tribute store.
Can I ask you guys something? I think we might have all had the same experience in the tribute store, but I want to know. So there was 3 rooms, and between 2 of them, you were supposed to be like going into a speakeasy, but there was a guy standing at the door between the rooms asking if we knew the password.
What?
But they was nowhere. There was no password, and they wouldn't let you through until you knew it.
Okay.
And it was so awkward.
Well, you went right at the beginning, right?
Yeah, this was like a week or 2 into Mardi Gras.
Yeah, I didn't have that experience at all. That sounds weird.
Oh my gosh, it was the worst.
I experienced that. It was very awkward. It was kind of hilarious though. And I was by myself on the preview day and they did that. And I think, Grace, you and I talked about this. Like maybe they could play it over the music or put it up somewhere. Like how are we supposed to get this password?
There was nothing to tell you what it was.
Was he an actual team member or just a random guy? Okay.
No, a team member. Someone standing at the door like a security guard.
Strange. Yeah,
it did not work
because they haven't had when you think when all those places closed down, they haven't had an awful lot of time to convert them into the tribute store. So yeah, hopefully with another, well, no, because they've got to do it for Horror Nights next, haven't they? And the turnaround for that's fairly quick, really. It'll be interesting.
Yeah, after whatever the summer one might be. It is
summer.
I think if they have any sense, they won't do a summer one and just give them time to get it ready for Horror Nights. But we will see. Yeah.
The second room was really well done, I thought. I mean, I love that the bayou scene in there and the lighting, but that was the only one that was like really cool.
Did anyone get the one with the bottles in it, Kevin?
No, the bottles came just after that, I think.
Oh, okay. I'm trying to remember.
Did anybody get a bottle?
No, I did not. I saw everyone else's though. They were awesome.
So again, coming off the negative again. Overall, we enjoyed it. Madeline, I assume you enjoyed Mardi Gras this year.
Yeah, I mean, I can be the sticky positive person here. I thought it was amazing. I got to see everyone here except for you, Lee. I'm very sorry about that.
Me
at
too.
Mardi Gras. And it's fun that it brings people together to come to the parks at an off time in the year. So I thought it was really fun. It's not over yet, and there's still a lot of Mardi Gras left, which is crazy. It's a really long event.
Yes.
But I really enjoyed it. I've loved dressing up for it. It's been a really good time, and I hope they take some of these suggestions for next year. But overall, really good job, Universal.
Good. Yeah, it's made me realize even more so after the last weekend that Universal is an amazing place to go, but it's so much better when you are hanging out with family. I will say family, because everyone's family at this point. It makes such a difference having a huge group of people to experience, or then having a group of people and then kind of flitting around between that group of people as well. It makes such a difference. Like you said, Madeline, sitting outside Music Plaza is not the most comfortable place, but sat out there before Mannheim Steamroller, that huge group of us, was awesome.
True. Yeah, no, definitely way better with friends. Everything's better with friends.
Cool. Thank you very much, everyone, for joining us. I really enjoyed it. I do enjoy sort of these episodes because it takes me out of my comfort zone with knowing Chris and Tracy and Michelle, and it's good to get, average, I mean, not average park goers, but you know what I mean, people who experience it slightly different to how we do, with a less critical eye, although you wouldn't necessarily believe that after the conversation we've just had. But that's Universal fans, isn't it? Let's be honest. We know a standard that we expect the parks to be, and we want it to be above that standard, and that's not a bad thing, but it doesn't mean we don't love it for what it is.
There's one thing I wanted to say that I forgot with the food. I felt like the thing that really jumped out to me, well, first of all, I just think it's really freaking cool that this is a part of just a normal ticket. I don't have to pay extra. No. I didn't have to pay extra for the concert. Granted, I'm the second tier pass, but annual pass. So like, that's just like amazing. Yeah. Like you get the amazing park that it already is and then some. There were a lot more characters out. I feel like, Lee, you guys have been talking about it on the podcast of like the characters like not having as many out. I thought there was a lot out, and I thought that I've thankfully had majority really, really great experiences with the Universal team members. I thought with Mardi Gras, everyone was like above and beyond. Like I thought the booth people were phenomenal. I was really dressed up with like tutus and whatever, and everyone went like just crazy with and like chatting with us. And I thought Mardi Gras brought out the best and already like really great people. So that's like what stood out to me with Mardi Gras was like, it just was so lovely. Like it was such a nice time.
I mean, to be honest, from your guys' point of view, I think it's you guys as well. Because let's be honest, you have had, at least in my knowledge, the best theme park character experience that ever happened anywhere ever. And I know we've talked about it on the show before, but you guys doing the Seekender with the Scooby Gang last year was amazing.
It was so much fun.
I don't think it can be topped.
It was just, I wish I'd seen it rather than just hearing about it because, so cool.
It was awesome.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Right, that's going to wrap up the show. I hope you've all enjoyed it. Like was being said, there's still plenty of Mardi Gras left. So get yourself down there and check out the food and let us know, what your favourites are. And if you are gluten-free like Kayla is, bring it up while you're in the parks. Let guest services know if there's not. Kayla, did you actually contact guest services at all and let them know that you kind of struggled a little bit?
So I emailed them. I've emailed them before and they've always responded. I emailed them I mentioned the Mexico booth. Can I just quick? So the Mexico booth, I'm 99% certain it's gluten-free. It's corn tortilla. I'm safe with that. Like Mexican food is one of the safest options for a gluten-free person in a theme park, right? I went online and I'd been checking because I was like, there's a mistake. They forgot to add the gluten sensitive symbol. I know it's a mistake. I Googled like gluten-free Mardi Gras and I forget which website it was, but there was a website at the very end said that they were 99% sure Mexico was a mistake. They contacted the allergy department and they said, yeah, it was a mistake. They were gluten-free. But then someone at the theme park at the booth said, no, it's not gluten-free. And so they were like, take a risk if you want.
Okay.
I do think it is gluten-free, but I'm just going to tell you everything so you are clear. I ate the Mexico booth. I did not get sick.
Okay.
I emailed them and I have never heard back.
I'm just looking at the menu on their website right now, and it doesn't have the gluten-sensitive thing next to it. It's the Baja Shrimp Ceviche Tostada. Is that what it was?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. And the corn, the Mexican, the elote.
Yeah.
Which is corn and cheese. There's nothing.
Yeah, that definitely did not have gluten.
Yeah, that's interesting.
So that was like and like I said, that was the only time they didn't respond to me, or they weren't excellent.
Okay.
And as far as like the booth saying it wasn't gluten-free, put yourself in that person's shoes. They probably don't know. They're not the chefs. They're just serving.
Yes.
If they don't want to say, oh yeah, it's gluten-free, and then have the person get really sick and then
that's
come
sensible.
Back.
Exactly. That's sensible. Like
It's
if
sensible,
you don't know
yeah.
for absolute definite, then you don't say yes. Oh yeah, you'll be fine. And then the next thing, they're dead on the floor.
So that was I think a big mistake, and it was interesting.
Okay. Good to know. But again, yes, like if you have issues, like let them know, because they're not going to know that people need these things unless people let them know, rather than bitching about it online like a lot of people do. We just do it on a podcast instead. It's different. But yes, thank you for joining us. It's been, I've had a great time talking to you, and it makes me sad that we never got out for Mardi Gras this year. There was like that tiniest little chance that it was going to happen, but unfortunately it didn't. But so we're going to end, as we always do, with Universal Is, and we're going to end with some Universal Ises this week, because I've got everyone involved. Of course, if you want to get involved, all you've got to do is let us know what you think Universal is in 3 words or less, and send them to us at podcast@uuopodcast.com. But for this episode, it's over to, and in this order, Grace, Kayla, Kevin, and Madeline.
Okay, mine is cheesy, but it's because I met you guys all at Universal and adore you. So Universal is where friendships form.
Aww.
Aww.
Aww. I'm going to cry now, don't.
Mine is, it has to be, Universal is the perfect proposal.
Aww.
You guys are kind of awe after mine. Mine is better than supercalifragilisticexpialidocious.
All right, I'm sticking on the corny theme. Universal is friends becoming family.
Oh. Through an eye full of tears. Thanks, everyone, and we'll see you next week.
That was another episode of the Unofficial Universal Orlando Podcast, the best and only podcast about Universal Orlando on the island. Check us out on social media on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, and Pinterest. Just search UUO Podcast. For all the podcasts, news, and articles, check out our blog at uuopodcast.com. Contact us at podcast@uuopodcast.com. Join the Producers Club by emailing us at uuopproducers@gmail.com. Listen and subscribe to the podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, and everywhere else podcasts are found. Check out our friends, the Theme Park Duo, for all your other theme park news, and email Michelle at portkeyvacations.net to book your next trip. So until next time, this is Amity 6, call off the Marines, we're coming home.